Day slips between the buildings, not in a hurry, not on time. Snow is thinning on the corners, turning into something kind. Doors open with a softened sound, floors remember early feet. The morning doesn't make a statement, it just takes a seat. Coffee warms the air around us before it warms the hands. The room fills up with small agreements no one ever planned. Outside moves in quiet layers, traffic finding its tone. Inside everything feels held together by being left alone. This is where the pace feels human, loose enough to bend. Nothing here is pushing forward, nothing needs to end. Time walks slowly through the room and lets us pass it by. This is where the pace feels human. A melody leans against the walls, not asking to be heard, just enough to mark the distance between silence and words. You notice how the minutes shift without announcing why, like clouds changing shape above you while the ground stays dry. Tables wear their mornings lightly, edges smooth with use. Every mark a quiet record of what chose to stay or move. You trace the grain without a thought, let the pattern lead. Nothing here explains itself, nothing has to mean. This is where the pace feels human before the rush arrives. Every breath feels loosely placed, every moment alive. There's no need to frame the quiet or give it something to do. This is where the pace feels human. Snow gives way to narrow streams along the curbside stone. Every trace already changing before it's fully known. You think about the hours ahead, waiting in a line. Still unspoken, still untouched, still in no one's time. The cup cools down between your palms, the comfort doesn't break. It settles into something steady that you don't need to take. No signs pointing to a choice, no reason to decide. Just the light, the sound, the moment opening inside. This is where the pace feels human, easy to remain. Nothing here is falling short, nothing to regain. I stay a little longer here until the feeling shifts. This is where the pace feels human. Soon the street will speak more clearly. Lines will sharpen, sounds will rise. But for now, the space between them feels wide enough to hide. I listen to the room exhale, then match it with my breath. Every pause feels wide and open, nothing left unsaid. The glass reflects a passing shape, then lets it move along. Someone just the steady sense of standing still while the day is being set. This is where the pace feels human, carrying me through, not behind what's already gone, not ahead of what's new. I take this calm into the noise and let it see me through. This is where the pace feels human. The light keeps moving, I move with it. Snow settles lightly on the street, not choosing where to stay. The morning opens without a sound and slowly finds its way. Windows glow with early warmth, shops breathe their first light. Nothing moves with urgency, nothing needs to arrive tonight. Coffee drips in measured time, steam lifting thin and slow. The room fills up with quiet things no one needs to know. Outside hums are distant now, softened by the cold. Inside the air feels rounded like a story gently told. This is where the hours loosen before they take a shape. Nothing here is being driven, nothing tries to escape. Moments gather without pressure, then move when they choose. This is where the hours loosen. Tables hold the weight of pauses left by hands that pass through. Circles fade into the surface, doing what they're meant to do. Chairs wait without remembering who was here before. Everything feels temporary and somehow that feels sure. Snow redraws the same quiet lines, then lets them disappear. Time repeats itself softly without insisting it was here. Light shifts across the floorboards, finding places to remain. Nothing leaves a sharp impression, nothing needs a name. This is where the hours loosen before the pace is set. Every breath arrives uncounted, every moment met. There is no need to organize what silence wants to be. This is where the hours loosen. Cup cools down between two sips, the warmth stays close instead. Comfort doesn't follow logic, it rests where it is led. Outside, the street begins to stir a little more each time. Inside, everything moves slowly at a different kind of time. Sound drifts through the open space, never asking where to land. Notes dissolve into the air before they're fully planned. Nothing pulls the moment forward, nothing holds it still. It moves the way the morning does, unforced and at its will. This is where the hours loosen, ordinary and wide. Nothing here is till it starts to move. This is where the hours loosen. Soon the edges will return and shapes will sharpen again. But now the sound feels open, like it doesn't need to end. Breathing matches distant rhythm, light aligns with breath. Every pause becomes a place where nothing asks for depth. The glass clears without direction, warmth remains inside. A reflection passes briefly, then slips back out of sight. There is nothing missing here, nothing waiting to begin. Just a steady sense of presence before the next step in. This is where the hours loosen, carrying the day, not ahead of what is coming, not behind what fades away. This quiet moves without insisting, without needing proof. This is where the hours loosen. The sound keeps breathing, so does the room. Snow is falling somewhere quietly. I see it drifting past the glass. The city moves in softer colors, like it's learned how not to ask. I take my coat and fold the moment, place it gently on the chair. Every sound feels slightly warmer than the morning air. Coffee pours like slow intention, dark and honest, rich and deep. I watch the surface catch the light before it goes to sleep. Outside, footsteps draw their circles on a street that's pale and wide. In this room, the world is smaller, and I like it this size. This is my morning brew, a rhythm soft and steady. Nothing here is asking me to hurry or be ready. I let the minutes drift like steam and fade into the view. This is my morning brew. The radio hums a distant memory of something I once knew, a half-forgotten melody that sounds a little like you. I don't chase the thought that follows, I just let it pass me by, like snow dissolving on my sleeve before it knows why. Tables hold their quiet stories from the early and the late. Mugs and hands and borrowed glances, all learning how to wait. I trace the ring you left on wood, a disappearing sign, proof that something warm existed in this moment, in this time. This is my morning brew, the calm before the motion. Every breath is measured out in slow devotion. No need to name the things I feel or make them true. This is my morning brew. Snow keeps falling without rhythm, but it somehow fits the song. Every flake knows where it's going, even if it doesn't last long. I think about the day unfolding like pages yet unread, still untouched by expectation, still inside my head. The cup is lighter in my hand now, but the warmth is staying close. I feel it settling in my chest like a promise I won't post. No alarms inside this moment, no direction I must choose. Just a chair, a song, a window, and this quiet point of view. This is my morning brew, a simple kind of pleasure. Nothing here is wasted time, nothing here to measure. I stay inside this gentle sound a little longer than I should. This is my morning brew. Soon the street will find its volume, soon the day will speak my name. But for now the world is holding stillness like a flame. I breathe in what the room is giving, I breathe out what I don't need. Every note aligns my heartbeat, every pause lets it breathe. This is my morning brew, a quiet jazz in winter. I carry it into the day, let it move me gently forward. Whatever waits beyond this door can wait a moment too. This is my morning brew. The cup is empty. The feeling isn't. Settles on the window, almost colorless and slow. Snow keeps falling without checking if the day is ready though. I step inside and drop the silence from my shoulders to the floor. The room feels calm, like it remembers what this space was made for. Coffee fills the air with patience, dark and grounded, deep and warm. Every drop lands with intention, finding shape before it's formed. Outside traffic finds a rhythm far enough to feel removed. In here nothing needs a reason, nothing needs to prove. This is how the morning moves, soft and unafraid. Nothing here is counting minutes, nothing asks me to engage. I let the hours lean together in a way I didn't choose. This is how the morning moves. Music drifts in from the corner, not a song I try to know, just a line that keeps on wandering without a place to go. I don't hold on to every thought, I let most of them pass through, like a name you almost remember, but it never quite feels new. Tables where the quiet hours left by hands that came and went. Fading rings and softened edges say exactly what they meant. I trace them without trying, let them blur into the grain. Warmth was here and now it's changing, nothing stays the same. This is how the morning moves before the noise begins. Every breath feels evenly placed, every moment settles in. I don't label what this silence is or ask it to improve. This is how the morning moves. Snow keeps drawing temporary lines across the street below. Every mark is already fading, almost as it starts to show. I think about the hours waiting just outside my sight, still untouched by expectation, still unopened, still polite. The cup grows lighter in my hands now, but the comfort doesn't leave. It finds a place beneath my breathing where I don't need to believe. No signals telling me to hurry, no direction pulling through, just a chair, a song, a window, and a thought or two. This is how the morning moves. You're eerie and kind, nothing here is being wasted, nothing's falling behind. I stay inside this gentle pace until it starts to loosen. This is how the morning moves. Soon the street will sharpen slightly, soon the day will call my name. But for now the sound feels rounded like the edges of a flame. I listen to the space between each note and where it lands. Every pause feels intentional, like part of a larger plan. The glass begins to clear itself as the warmth stays close. I catch my face inside the surface, someone quieter than most. There's nothing missing from this hour, nothing waiting to begin. Just the simple weight of being here before the next thing steps in. This is how the morning moves, carrying me along, not ahead of what is waiting, not behind where I belong. I take this calm into the day, looks almost given up quietly. Inside, the room is already warm, like it started without you. The air feels settled, unhurried, as if it knows just what to do. Coffee gathers in a steady line, from machine to waiting cup. No rush in how it fills the space, no hurry building up. Outside, engines clear their throats somewhere far, but getting near. In here, every sound feels rounded, nothing sharp enough to fear. This is where the morning rests before it learns to run. Nothing here is leaning forward, nothing's coming undone. Time sits down beside itself, not asking to be used. This is where the morning rests. A voice drifts low across the room, not singing, not quite speech, just a tone that knows its distance and never tries to reach. Thoughts pass through without a shape, they don't ask to stay, like footprints fading from the snow as the ground warms through the day. Tables carry quiet evidence of hours slowing down, softened edges, water rings that time has gently worn around. You notice them without intention, let your eyes move where they land. Nothing here is meant to last, nothing needs to be planned. This is where the morning rests before the pace is set. Every breath feels evenly placed, every moment met. No need to sort the silence out or choose what it should be. This is where the morning rests. Snow redraws the same old lines, then lets them disappear. Every mark already loosening as soon as it's clear. You think about the hours waiting, stacked beyond the door, still untouched, still undecided, still asking nothing more. The cup cools slowly as you hold it, the comfort doesn't fade. It settles somewhere under language where nothing needs to be said. No alerts inside this moment, no direction pulling tight. Just a chair, a window, music, and a stretch of quiet light. This is where the morning rests, ordinary and still. Nothing here is running late, nothing ever will. You stay inside this gentle pause until it starts to shift. This is where the morning rests. Soon the street will raise its volume, edges sharpening again. The day will start to sort its reasons out of might and when. For now the sound is balanced, like it hasn't picked a side. Every space between the notes feels open wide. The glass clears without instruction as the warmth stays close. You catch a passing version of yourself, someone calm, almost anonymous. There's nothing missing from this hour, nothing pressing to begin. Just the steady sense of being here before the rest moves in. This is where the morning rests. drifts across the counter, thin as light on porcelain. Snow thins out along the gutters, changing shape again. Windows carry early warmth across a quiet floor. Nothing here announces time, nothing asks for more. Coffee breathes in steady pulses, steam lifting then gone. The room fills up with ordinary things that never linger long. Outside engines practice patience, learning how to start. Inside every sound feels rounded, like a softened edge of dark. This is where the day slows down before it finds a name. Nothing here is setting pace, nothing needs to aim. Moments line up gently, then move when they are ready. This is where the day slows down. Tables hold a passing weight of pauses left behind. Rings that fade into the grain as if they never tried. Chairs remain without a story, waiting just the same. Everything feels temporary, everything feels plain. Snowy draws the quiet margins along the edge of sight. Lines appear then lose their meaning in the warming light. Shadows cross the far wall slowly, finding places to rest. Nothing leaves a sharp impression, nothing stands as best. This is where the day slows down before the noise takes hold. Every breath arrives uncounted, every second told. No need to frame the silence or decide what it should be. This is where the day slows down. Between two moments, warmth stays closer still. Comfort settles without a rule, without a reason will. Outside shifts grow slightly louder, steps begin to pair. Inside time keeps a different order, loose and unaware. Sound drifts past the open space, never choosing sides. Notes dissolve into the air before they're recognized. Nothing pulls the present forward, nothing holds it tight. It moves the way the morning does by weightless light. This is where the day slows down, ordinary and wide. Nothing here is running, nothing set aside. I stay within this gentle drift until it starts to bend. This is where the day slows down. Soon the street will claim its volume, edges finding form. The day will sort its reasons into something worn. For now the space is balanced between arrival and release. Every pause becomes a place where pressure finds no lease. The glass clears without instruction, warmth remains inside. A reflection passes briefly, then slips to either side. There is nothing missing here, nothing asking to begin, just the steady sense of being before the next moves in. This is where the day slows down, carrying me through, not ahead of what is coming, not behind what's true. I take this calm into the motion, let it color what I do. This is where the day slows down. Light keeps changing, so do I. Morning skips across the window like it's got somewhere to be. Snow is thinner than it was, almost letting go of me. Doors swing open, soft and easy, footsteps sound a little bright. The day feels lighter than expected, like it changed its mind overnight. Coffee hums in quiet circles, warming more than just my hands. Every sound feels loosely placed, nothing sticks, nothing stands. Outside moves with gentle timing, not too fast, not falling behind. Inside everything is breathing in a slightly lifted line. This is how the morning feels when it starts to sway. Nothing here is in a hurry, nothing's in the way. Time is moving, not too serious, letting moments play. This is how the morning feels. A tune drifts in and out of focus, like it's smiling as it goes, not asking for attention, just enjoying what it knows. Thoughts arrive and step aside, no reason to compete. They line up, then they wander off, light enough to leave. Tables catch the early light, edges glow, then fade. Every mark feels less like history, more like plans half made. I trace the pattern in the wood, then laugh and let it be. Nothing here is trying hard, and I like that energy. This is how the morning feels, easy on its feet. Every breath finds its own place, every pause is sweet. No need to slow it down or speed it up, just let it reveal. This is how the morning feels. Snow turns into running lines along the warming street. Every change feels temporary in the best way it can be. I think about the day ahead, then stop and take a sip. The future doesn't rush me, it just gives a little wink. The cup grows lighter as I drink, the comfort stays around. It settles somewhere near my smile without making a sound. No signs is how the morning feels. Open, loose and kind. Nothing here is overthought, nothing left behind. I stay inside this gentle lift until it starts to shift. This is how the morning feels. Soon the street will pick up speed, laces tied, coats on. But for now the world is stretching like it's just waking up from dawn. You catch your reflection smiling almost by surprise, like you remembered something good you didn't realize. The glass clears, the room feels wider, sounds align and flow. Everything is slightly brighter than it was an hour ago. There's nothing missing from this moment, nothing pushing me ahead. Just a quiet sense of readiness where calm and motion blend. This is how the morning feels, carrying me through. Not too careful, not too bold, just open enough to move. I take this ease into the day, let it color what I do. This is how the morning feels. The door swings open, so do I. Morning taps the edge of the window like it's checking if I'm in. Snow has started turning quieter, almost thinning into wind. The street looks clean and undecided, lines are soft, the colors low. Nothing feels dramatic yet, nothing needs to know. Coffee slides into the cup with a steady, even sound. Heat collects in small agreements that don't need to be found. Outside, footsteps trade direction. Some arrive, some pass through. Inside, the room feels balanced like it's waiting to. This is where the rhythm lands before it starts to race. Nothing here is out of step, nothing's out of place. Time leans back against the wall, lets the moment choose. This is where the rhythm lands. A melody cuts across the room, then curves away again. Not looking for a memory, not trying to pretend. Thoughts come in with lighter shoes. They don't crowd the floor. They move like they've been here before, then quietly ignore. Tables wear the shape of mornings, edges smoothed from use. Every mark looks less like history, more like a friendly excuse. You trace the line around a ring, then stop halfway through. Nothing here is asking you to decide what's true. This is where the rhythm lands, easy on its feet. Every breath arrives on time, every pause feels clean. No need to push the tempo or slow it down to choose. This is where the rhythm lands. snow slips into narrow streams along the warming street. Every change feels temporary, and that makes it sweet. You think about the plans ahead, then let them wait in line. The future doesn't knock too loud, it reads the room just fine. The cup grows light between your hands, the comfort stays nearby. It settles into something calm that doesn't ask you why. No signs pulling left or right, no pressure in the sound, just the room, the beat, the moment lined up, loosely bound. This is where the rhythm lands, carrying me through. Not too sharp, not drifting off, just steady enough to move. I take this swing into the day, let it guide what I do. This is where the rhythm lands. The door clicks shut, the beat goes on. The door clicks shut, the beat goes on. This is where the rhythm lands, before it starts to race. Nothing here is out of step, nothing's out of place. Time leans back against the wall, lets the moment choose. This is where the rhythm lands. The glass clears up, the room feels set, sounds fall into place. Everything feels slightly brighter at a comfortable pace. There's nothing missing from this hour, nothing pulling me ahead, just a quiet sense of readiness before the day is set. This is where the rhythm lands, carrying me through. Not too sharp, not drifting off, just steady enough to move. I take this swing into the day, let it guide what I do. This is where the rhythm lands. The door clicks shut, the beat goes on. Morning arrives without a signal, no announcement, no reply. Snow is resting on the pavement, like it plans to stay a while. I step inside before the quiet breaks, let the door fall gently closed. The room feels settled in its rhythm, like it already knows. Coffee waits beneath the counter, heat collecting slow and sure. Every movement feels intentional, nothing rushed, nothing forced. Outside, the city clears its throat, getting ready to speak. Inside, the air is soft with patience, almost learning how to breathe. This is where I let the morning be unfinished and loose. Nothing here is drawing lines, nothing asks me to choose. I stand still long enough to feel what the silence can do. This is where I let the morning be. A sound drifts past without direction, not a song I recognize, just a presence moving slowly through the corner of my mind. I don't try to follow meaning, I don't give the moment shape. I let it stay exactly as it is, then quietly escape. Tables hold the weight of waiting, left by cups and open hands, faded rings and softened edges, proof of moments never planned. I trace the grain without a reason, let my focus come and go. Everything feels lightly temporary, and somehow that feels close. This is where I let the morning be, before the hours decide. Every breath arrives in balance, every second open wide. I don't name what settles here, or tell it what to do. This is where I let the morning be. Snow begins to lose its shape along the warming ground, every line already changing as the day turns its sound. I think about the time ahead, still folded, still unclear, waiting without expectation, neither far away nor near. The cup grows lighter as I hold it, but the calm remains the same. It finds a place beneath my thoughts that doesn't need a name. No messages demanding answers, no direction pulling tight, just a chair, the light, the music, and this pocket of time. This is where I let the morning be, ordinary and kind. Nothing here is out of place, nothing falls behind. I stay inside this gentle pause until it starts to shift. This is where I let the morning be. Soon the street will find its volume, edges forming once again. The day will start arranging reasons out of where and when. For now the room holds everything in a balance I can trust. Every pause feels wide enough to gather what I must. The glass reflects a passing moment, then releases it with ease. I recognize myself briefly in the space between. There's nothing missing from this hour, nothing pressing to begin, just the simple act of being here before the rest steps in. This is where I let the morning be, carrying me through, not ahead of what is waiting, not behind. that guide what I do. This is where I let the morning be. The sound fades gently. I remain. Snow rests on the quiet street, morning breath on the glass. No voices yet, just echoes of a city waking slow. I walk in with the cold on my coat. A silver bell sings above the door. Wooden floors remember footsteps from another winter before. The air smells like roasted thyme and something gently sweet. I wrap my hands around the warmth and finally take a seat. Outside is moving somewhere else. In here the clock feels kind. This is my morning brew, a quiet jazz in winter. Steam is dancing through the room like thoughts I don't deliver. I let the world stay far away just for a little while. This is my morning brew, where silence learns to smile. Snowflakes trace the window frame like notes I almost play. People pass with folded scarves, each going their own way. The cup leaves circles on the table, little moons of fading heat. I watch them disappear like worries at my feet. No headlines, no alarms, no reasons left to run. This is my morning brew, a cafe made of sound. Every chord is settling where calm is always found. The cold can wait outside the door, the day can wait its turn. This is my morning brew, a quiet place to learn. I think about the night before, the things I couldn't say. They melt into the background with every note that plays. The piano hums in half-light like it knows my name, not asking me for answers, not asking me to change. Breathing in, breathing out, nothing else to begins again. A simple cup, a simple song, a slow unspoken friend. I hold this moment carefully before the world comes through. This is my morning brew, and it's enough to be here too. No rush, no race, just warmth and space. Snow keeps falling quietly, like it knows to stay away. This is my morning brew, a quiet jazz in winter. I take one last deep breath before the hours enter. Whatever waits beyond this door can wait a little more. This is my morning brew before the day asks for more. The cup is empty now, but the warmth remains in every silent corner of this slow